Me encuentro con Christopher Suárez una vez más en otro episodio de lo que es el rollo del BCN y lo que es el off-season para toda la liga este año y lo que viene para la temporada 2023. Para los que no me conocen, mi nombre es Edgardo, a.k.a. Elo. Todo el mundo me conoce en el mundo del deporte aquí en Puerto Rico como Elo. Tenemos al gran Christopher Suárez, Chris, con nosotros. Saludos a todos los muchachos que no están hoy con nosotros, Eddie, Joby, Jerry y Tuki, no sé quién más se me queda por ahí, Eddie, nada, básicamente hoy decidimos hacer este episodio, tuvimos un acercamiento sobre el director of marketing de los Mets de Guaynabo, nos contactó, se habló sobre la firma del nuevo dirigente de los Mets de Guaynabo, y lo tenemos hoy en exclusiva con nosotros, aquí a Xavier Silas va a estar con nosotros esta noche, y queremos darle la bienvenida al nuevo head coach de los Mets de Guaynabo, Xavier Silas, que está aquí con nosotros. Bienvenidos al coach que está por ahí. Xavier, finally we got you here. Welcome to the BSN officially. You're going to be part of the Guaynabo Mets organization this year as a head coach. This is going to be your first experience as a head coach in the sideline. And now we're going to start with the questions now for you. Christopher, you have the first question for you now.
Coach, first and foremost, congratulations on getting the job and coming to Guaynabo, coming to the BSN and Puerto Rico. My first question to you is basically, what is your overall basketball acumen as a prior player and now as a coach? What can you tell us about yourself?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you guys for having me on the show. Thank you for congratulating me. You know, it's a big honor to be the next head coach at Guaynabo. So I'm taking it very seriously, and I really thank you guys for that. As far as my acumen, you know, I've grown up around the game. My dad played for 10 years, like we were talking about before.
Yep.
He played for 10 years for the Spurs. I grew up playing, you know, basketball, had a professional career, started off in Austin, Texas, and that's my hometown. So I'm familiar with a little bit of Spanish. You know, I'm working on it. But you know, a lot of guys, it seems like the Dalmau brothers, for example, they had a dad that played professionally as well, right? Yep. And so,
a legend.
You know, it's one of those things where you just have this thing about you when you grow up around the game, right? And so it's just part of who I am. It always has been, and I'm excited to bring that to Guaynabo.
Awesome. Xavier, when we made a research, when we see the news that Guaynabo is going to get a new coach, a new head coach, and when we see the name Xavier Silas, we made a research. First of all, it came to my mind. I said, this guy is 34 years, and it's a former basketball player. A few years, like how many years ago? 2 years ago? You were 3 years ago. You were playing basketball as a professional basketball player. And I said, what he's doing coaching now? Maybe he can still play. But the question here for me is, talk to me about the transition to be a professional basketball player now to a professional head coach for you right now.
You know, you guys have seen this over and over with former players having success. You know, Pachi, Ayuso, Dalmau, Cassiano, all these.
Oh, you know a lot.
Oh man, you know I do my You're not the only one that do the research.
That's good.
And so for me, you know, having the ability to be a former player, to come down there and really grow and to really get the experience and to really compete, because look, all those coaches that were former players, they've had success. You know, so just because I'm 34 doesn't mean that I can't have success and that I'm not expecting success for myself. And so I think that's where I'm at. You know, I give myself really high standards, and I'm gonna come down there and try to really make some noise, even if I'm a young coach.
That's really good. That's really good for the basketball culture. A lot of young head coaches are coming out now to get in a lot of leagues around the world, EuroLeague, here in Puerto Rico, NBA, women's basketball too. A lot of young coaches coming out to the sideline, and that's really good for you too. And then we know that it's going to be a really great experience for you in the sideline. So let's see what's going to be this week, Xavier, this year for the Mets.
For sure.
Yeah, Coach, I wanted to ask you, as a player, when was the time that you said, you know what, I want to be a head coach? Is this something that builds up over time, or is this something that clicked for you?
Yeah, I think it built up over time. And, I started to really, truly pay attention at the last few years of my playing career to coaching. I remember there were some times in the G League where I was hurt. I had some back injuries that were just tough. And I would, instead of sitting on the bench like all the other injured players, I would go in the back and I would code film. I would live code the film during the game, right? Okay. And so I knew that I wanted to coach. I knew that I wanted to take that path. And so I started asking different questions. I started paying attention to different things that probably other players weren't paying attention to. And it just started to work out and it started to click. And when I did start coaching, I was kind of ahead of the game. And so hopefully with the way that I've been approaching things, I'll be ahead of the game when I start my head coaching career as well.
That's great to hear. And in that line, right, coming to the BSN and Guaynabo in Puerto Rico, basketball here is ruled by FIBA rules, right? A little bit different than the NBA and the G League. Have you done? First and foremost, have you had any experience with FIBA rules before, and how do you plan to adjust to the difference and nuances of the FIBA rules versus the NBA and G League game?
Well, look, man, I have experience with FIBA rules and I have experience with roundabouts. I know y'all got a lot of roundabouts there.
Yeah,
for sure.
I played in Greece. I played in Israel. I played in Argentina.
Yeah, that's
I played in Germany. I played, and I also played USA basketball, which that's FIBA rules as well.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I'm very familiar with FIBA. Probably most of my career has been playing with FIBA rules. And one thing I do know, and judging from all the games that I've watched, the games that I've played, FIBA's just way more physical. It's a lot more physical. You can't get away with a lot of different things. Strategy-wise, you have to be on top of the game because they can throw zone in there. There's not a 3-second rule like there is in the NBA. And so there's a lot of differences with that, but there's also a lot of things that I can bring from the NBA as well that'll help out. And so just knowing how to balance those two is what I'm working on, and I'll be ready for that.
Nice. Coach, for the people that follow us and the fans in the BSN, maybe a lot of them don't know nothing about you. Yep. Can you please talk to the people, and which was your last work as coach or as an assistant coach? We know that you was with the Motor City Cruise. That's the team from the Detroit Pistons in the G League. Talk to us a little bit about that experience with the Motor City Cruise. And did you know about Jason Page too? I think he was in the Motor City last year, right?
Yeah, so I got a few stories about that. But first I'll start, the last 3 years I've been coaching, and the last 2 years I've been running the offense for two different teams.
Okay.
2 years ago, we went to the championship, a lot like Guaynabo. We went to the championship and we lost, right? I was running the offense for that team. I've had a top 5 offense in the last 2 years.
Nice.
And so I've had success doing that. But as far as Jason Page, we saw him at the showcase last year in Las Vegas, and I was running the offense. We were doing really good, and we won that game against him. But he played so well that the Detroit Pistons called him up the next day.
Yep.
And so if you really look at what happened, we played him, and he got called up by our team the next day. And so I got to see Jason Page very up close, and he's a great player. But we also have a lot of great players that are returning to the team, and that is something that was really intriguing for me. The roster, a lot of returners that were on that championship team from 2 years ago. A lot of guys that are versatile, that can do multiple things. So I think anybody that looks at that roster and knows Puerto Rico and knows the BSN knows that there's a lot of talent on that team, and it's an exciting team.
I just bring you the name of Jason Page to you right now because like 1 week ago or 2 weeks ago, came out in news from the BSN that the Mets offering some players to Mayagüez in exchange from Jason Page. I think it's still waiting for the league to approve the trade. But we have the experience to and the opportunity to interview right now about you was with the Motor City Cruise and he was part of the organization of the Pistons. That's what I'm just asking to you about Jason Page. So
right.
And now, you have any acknowledge from the BSN if you have any about the league players?
Yeah, of course. I mean, the first knowledge that I wanted to know is the knowledge of Guaynabo. And so I went down and I had to do my research on Quixote, right? I had to do my research.
Oh my God!
I had to do my research on Fico Lopez. You know what I mean? I gotta know. We gotta know. I'm trying to bring back. I want to bring back the '80s and '90s kind of energy that we had in Guaynabo with Fico and Quixote. That's what I'm trying to do. So
those was great years for the Guaynabo fans, for the Guaynabo organization, and we had similar experience. In the 2021 year was a great year for the Guaynabo Mets. They hit the finals. So, yes, that's really good. You surprised me a lot with Fico and Quixote. You surprised me a lot.
Come on, man. You think that you're the only one that does the research?
Coach is researching and
come on, man.
It's very organized. It's something that we read on the official press release about you. About you being organized and studying the game, right? Basically being someone who studies the game a lot. And, you just blew us away with the names you mentioned about the BSN without having any knowledge about it. So you're on the right track for that. Now, going back to you and as a coach, now we want to know, right? What's your desired style of play that you're going to bring to Guaynabo this year, and what kind of players are you looking for to implement that style?
Well, style of play, what's been successful for me is we're going to play fast. We're going to play fast. Yeah, we're going to play a fast pace. I hate to compare to NBA teams, but Golden State plays fast. The old Rockets, remember with Harden and those guys, they played fast.
With Mike D'Antoni, he's a fast
coach. A lot of D'Antoni. My philosophy has a lot of D'Antoni vibes to it. It has a lot of D'Antoni energy to it. Defensively, we're going to play defense. We're going to contest shots. We're going to make them take the shots that we want them to take. But mainly, without the X's and O's, it's the passion. We're going to play with passion. We're going to play to win. We're going to play together. And that's really the most important thing for me. And that's what I'm looking to implement first. And I'm talking to the guys. I've talked to a few of the guys already, and everybody's on the same page. So I feel really good about that.
So you already got communication with some of the guys from the Guaynabo Mets? Already?
Yeah, I've talked to a few of them already. I talked to Bachman earlier. I talked to, let's see, who did I just get off the phone with?
This is going to be Taekwon Rolón.
I talked to Taekwon. I talked to Taekwon today.
Actually, he's in Venezuela playing.
I talked to him. He was in Venezuela. It was tough because of his service, but I was able to talk to him.
Okay.
And so, I was able to talk to the guys, and it's been a good experience. I text with Han. I didn't get him on the phone yet.
Okay.
He was on daddy duty, so he had the kid.
And
then I talked to EJ as well.
Crawford.
And so, been able to talk to those guys, and everybody's just really excited. Everybody's excited, and they're willing to do what it takes to win a championship. And so I think that we won't have a problem with guys and their passion to win.
One of the positive things of that young group, because it's a young group, obviously you got a veteran on Ronaldo Bachman. John Han is already a veteran in our league. but it's a young group of players. And one of the good things about that organization in Guaynabo right now with that group is that they are playing together since 2020. So they played the bubble here in Puerto Rico. Actually the same roster. We can say the same roster. They got Taekwondo in the bubble, Jonathan Hand in the bubble. Obviously, the import players change every year.
Right.
Other players have contracts in the exterior and outside Puerto Rico. So that's one of the positive things, that they were playing together since 2022 to right now to 2022. And we was talking minutes ago. The Mets were in the bubble 2020. They hit the semifinals in 2020. 2021 they went to the BSN finals, and this year they went close to the playoffs. But things happen, injuries, issues with the import players or whatever, and next year, 2023, Xavier and the organization. Now, what we can expect from you, from Xavier and the Mets for the 2023 BSN season?
We want a championship. You know what I mean? I think that's our standard. And I think everybody has the same standard. Everyone has the same goal. Starting off with the league, and so, that's what we're here to do. At the end of the day, we've been very close, and I think that we have the talent there. What you're going to expect is a team that plays together and plays hard. Those are the two most important things. And if we can do that, we're going to put ourselves in a really good chance. Of course, injuries happen. Of course, things out of our control happen. But I like this group. Everyone that I've talked to has the right energy about them. They have the right mindset. And so I believe in this group. I really do. I believe in this group. I think that it's a really good group, and they want to win. And that's half the battle. That's half the battle.
Nice. I have another question for you. As a head coach or as an assistant coach in the sideline, what was your biggest challenge right now?
I think just honestly, it's the same thing that I just talked about, just dealing with things that you can't control. Sometimes one injury or sometimes, one little thing can throw off an entire season, right?
Yep, for sure.
And so I think that's probably the hardest thing for coaches in general is just, things come up and you can't control it, and you have this plan and you have to be able to adjust. And so I think that's one of my positives, that I can adjust. Coming from the G League, one thing that I can bring to this is that, man, sometimes we didn't know our roster until right before the game.
Yeah,
because they're sending us players,
call-outs, send-downs.
Yeah, they're taking players from us. They're sending us players, and so I've been able to adjust for the last 3 years as a coach, but also as a player. That used to happen as a player. So you may be starting, and then now you're not starting because whoever they sent somebody down. And so being able to bring that, I think, is a positive thing. And I'm looking forward to not having call-ups anymore, right? Call-ups and send-downs. I'm looking forward to that. That was hard to deal with. And so probably the biggest thing that I used to deal with, and that was the hardest thing to deal with, I don't have to deal with anymore.
Right. I just ask you because when I was doing the research about your career, I said, this guy is really young, and you were sharing time, sharing court, sharing locker room energies with maybe a lot of players that are still playing basketball, and now you need to be head coach.
Yep.
And follow rules from you to a guys that are 20, 25, 30, 35. Now it's hard for you as coach now, because when you're a player, how you prepare yourself? Because when you're a player, you need to go to the weight room, to go to do drills, you need to prepare yourself for games or for whatever. As a coach, how you prepare yourself now?
Well, I'll start with this. The last 2 years, everything that had to do with the offense on those teams, I ran it. I ran every part of practice. I ran every film session. I talked after the game, everything that had to do with it. So I was almost like a head coach for the offense. And I can only thank the coaches that I coached for, my head coaches that I was working with, to give me that experience and to give me that responsibility, because I don't think without that I would be ready for an opportunity like this. But now that I was able to do that and you know, I kind of ran everything that had to do with it, I feel comfortable, you know, doing that, because I've been doing it for the last 2 years just on one side of the ball. Okay. Now, as far as getting ready, I've always been a big preparation guy. Even when I was playing, you know, I was there early doing the things. And it's of course it's changed for coaching, but you know, watching film, making sure we know the plays that we want to run, making sure we know what they're going to run, making sure we know exactly what we're going to do in late game situations, offensively and defensively, right? All these things, all those little things that could happen. I'm almost like a lawyer. You know, lawyers are always like thinking about something that could go wrong, right?
Yep.
My wife is a lawyer, so I can say that, you know. And so for me, I'm always thinking about, okay, what could go wrong? How would we handle this? And that's how I prepare, you know, nice. Because I have to be ready and prepared for anything that happens at all times.
Nice.
Coach, before we let you go, I wanted to ask you, it's very early in the offseason here for the BSN.
Yeah.
But with the experience you've had as a player, coach in the G League and whatnot, are you already? And second question.
Te dejaste de escuchar en la primera, Christopher. Se te fue un
sorry, I was asking about for the team, and secondly,
te está frizando. You're getting freeze in the first question.
Okay. So do you have any candidates for your coaching staff, and do you have any candidates for import players?
You know, with the coaching staff, it's so early. You know, I'm doing all this stuff for me right now. I'm just getting done with it. I think once everything kind of settles down, we're going to put a list together and really start doing interviews and see who best fits with everything. You know, this thing is like a puzzle. We have to put the puzzle pieces together. And right now I was kind of like the first piece as far as the staff goes. Now let's see who's available, see who can fit where, see what roles we want. You know, I'm a big proponent on defining roles. Everybody has to know exactly what they want to do and what I want them to do so that they can help the team. And so once we kind of sit down, know the spots that we have and everything, we'll sit down and figure that out. As far as the roster goes, you know, like you said, it's early. We're looking, like I said, to win a championship. And so the talent and the people that we bring in have to reflect that. And they have to be the right type of people. They have to be the right type of players in order to win that deal. So we'll be working through it. And, you know, the administration is going to have a big part in that as well. But we're all on the same page on what we want and what we're looking for.
Nice to hear that. That's really cool. That's pretty cool too. Coach, I have a question outside of the Mets organization. That Denver jersey, were your rookie year?
No, this was like my second to last year. Not my last year, but the year right before.
With Denver.
Yeah.
Who wasn't the head coach there?
Mike Malone was there.
Mike
Malone was there. Yep. I got to play
with the Joker.
Jokic was there. Jamal Murray was there. Was still with Gary Harris was still there.
Yep. Right. Will Barton, I think so.
Will Barton was there. Yep. Will Barton and I went to the same prep school. I was a little bit before him, but we both went to the same academy.
Oh, nice.
Awesome. Nice. So, Coach, I think we're good. And
before we go, man, you got to tell me about the tablado, man.
Oh, that's right. And you mentioned
about the tablado, man.
You know how you mentioned
without saying something about that.
Yeah, you got it. You got it right beside the Coliseum. You can just walk there.
Bro,
and you know how you mentioned roundabouts?
Yeah.
Yeah, a roundabout to enter the Coliseum. So you can see that too.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
we're definitely
that's
gonna do something there.
you're gonna love the tablado.
Oh yeah,
You came out of the locker room, turn right, get down the stairs, and you have the tablado in front of you.
Yeah.
Like 1 minute.
What's the best thing to get at the tablado? You tell me. What's the best thing?
Best thing to what? A drink or something?
No,
Eat.
best thing to drink or eat, whatever. Just the best thing.
Oh, you gotta try everything. So you gotta try our food. You gotta try alcapurrias. You gotta try bacalaitos. So we'll show you around for sure.
Pastelillos.
You know,
I can't wait.
we can do something there.
Yeah,
we're gonna plan that. We're gonna do something there with you.
We can do a mini movie or a vlog when you arrive and whatever. And your first time in the tablao, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love the people, the fans here are crazy, bro. Xavier, I know that you were in a lot of around the world playing basketball, a lot of part of the world and whatever, but every player from outside that came here and every coach that came here feels the energy from the fans. In Guaynabo, in Arecibo, in Quebradillas, in Mayagüez, in Carolina, the fans here are crazy. And you're going to see it when you arrive here. So prepare yourself for that. Prepare yourself for fans, yelling a lot of bad words on you, maybe on the refs. So prepare yourself for that too.
Hey, you know what? What I want to do is I want to have Guaynabo be one of the hardest places to play.
Nice.
That's one of the things I want, because every time I hear places that people say it's really hard to play, it hasn't been Guaynabo, right? So for me, it's like, okay, we're gonna get the tablado popping, and then we're gonna go in there and have one of the hardest places to play. All right,
that's really. I love to hear that, because for me right now, the tough play here in Puerto Rico to play as a visitor team is the Atléticos de San Germán. They were in the finals this year.
I saw that.
They got Norris Cole as an import. Rondé Hollis Jefferson were there too. They bring the other PG was Nate Mason Jr. He was really great. He got injury in the finals too. He got injury, but that's really good. And that motivates me to keep going to the court. That was really good to hear that from you. Guaynabo is going to be the top quarter play, so that's really good, really good.
That's what I want. And when I come there, I'm trying to come early. I'm trying to meet the fans, but we got to get that thing popping. We got to get that thing full.
That's good.
We got to get that thing full.
Good. And we work in the BSN as a media. We are media. We have our page, Sports Talks PR and El Rollo del BSN. We have 2 pages of media in Puerto Rico. But our principal team, since I have 5 years, is the Mets of Guaynabo. I live in Guaynabo. I live in Guaynabo all my life. I have 28 years old, and that's my team. I love the league. I love all the teams. I have friends that plays in a lot of teams, but my principal team, and I'm naturally from Guaynabo, so I support the Guaynabo Mets. That's my priority.
That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear. That's what I was waiting to hear. Chris, what about you, Chris?
Same thing. I grew up here all my life, and I've always, when I grew up, I always heard my father and my grandfather talk about how the team was in the 80s, in the beginning of the 90s. I never lived that because I was a little kid. Right. And just to get a taste of it and see a taste of it in 2021 was amazing. So I would love for it to continue. I think if the Mets are really good, it's good for the league. San Germán being great last year was amazing for the league, and that franchise basically, very similar to Guaynabo in terms of, it was very good in the 80s and 90s. When you look at the record books in the 80s and 90s, you're going to see a lot of Guaynabo and San Germán in the runner-up for championship or champion. They had their best years those years. So it's great to see those teams come back and make the league better.
Also, the other teams are always, are contenders every year. The Vaqueros from Bayamón, they were the champions each year.
They're the current champions right now.
His owner is the Jadir Molina, the catcher from the St. Louis Cardinal. He's the owner of the team. Mm-hmm. They got Arecibo. They got 2 younger new owners. One of them are singers from here, Anuel AA. I don't know if you know about him.
He's gonna get to know everything.
Yeah, he's gonna know everything, but
research everything.
It's gonna be a good experience for you, Coach. I got nothing else to tell you. Welcome to the BSN. Welcome to Puerto Rico. This is your house. This is your media, whatever you want it, and we're gonna meet us.
I got one more thing before we go.
Yep.
What do you got?
Son los Mets.
Son los Mets.
Yeah, that's great.
That's
awesome.
it. That's all I got to say.
That's all you got to say. That's awesome.
That's a really good way to finish this program. So thank you, Coach. Thank you, Angel, for the opportunity. Thank you for the Mets of Guaynabo and all the entire organization for the opportunity to have Coach Xavier Silas here with us. And thank you, Coach. Thank you, and welcome to the BSN.
Appreciate you guys.
Ahí lo tenían mi gente, Xavier Silas, el nuevo dirigente de los Mets de Guaynabo. Tan pronto él aterrice con nosotros en Puerto Rico, lo vamos a tener con nosotros. Así que gracias, mi gente, y hasta la próxima, corillo.